الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضاه وأعط لكل عبد منا من الخير ما نواه وصلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد ومن والاه. One of the unique ibadah, the Prophet ﷺ was keen to do it every year. And he kind of even make it obligatory on himself. When he misses that for any reason, he might even make up that one. And even the wife ﷺ that took that habit from him, they were doing that every year. And if they miss it, they will even outside Ramadan. And the Prophet ﷺ at the beginning, he used to make i'tikaf, which is that's an ibadah. I'tikaf at the first 10 nights of Ramadan. Then he moved to the second 10, and then finally he only limited that, to the last 10 nights of Ramadan, days and nights of Ramadan. And you might say, why is that? So the Prophet ﷺ, the one Allah has forgiven all his sins, he's doing his possible ways to catch the reward of Laylatul Qadr. And to teach us, that this is the time you should catch it, the time you should take care of it. So that's one of the reasons of that. Besides that, time, even he will make mudarasa, recite Quran with Jibreel alayhi salam, and many other reasons. So they used to have like a kind of a tent, in the masjid, that he would be there in that certain spot, and he will make, his i'tikaf in there. And there is a istiwana. If you go to the Rawda, they will tell you exactly even where the Prophet ﷺ sarir and the spot that where he will have his i'tikaf in there. Now if I ask you a question, what is the reward of i'tikaf? You might not find an authentic hadith or any hadith to have a specific reward for the i'tikaf. And what that does mean? Whenever there's no specific reward for any good deed that be encouraged in Sharia, that means it's no limit. That means it's an open check. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ, Allah will grant those are patient their reward with no limit. So when there's no mention of specific reward, that means it's a great reward, not the opposite. Some people say, oh, there is no specific reward in this. Yeah, but that means it's a great reward. It's not even limited to that certain reward. It's based on your intention and how you maximize the benefit in that. But it has a reward and has an impact. You should not be the same person that you are in i'tikaf before and after. So it's really a great ibadah that you limited your time, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What i'tikaf is? The definition, simple definition, لزوم المسجد. لزوم المسجد للعبادة بنية. لزوم المسجد للعبادة بنية. Very simple. Can we repeat it? لزوم المسجد للعبادة بنية. Very simple definition. So first, it has to be dedicating your time to be in a certain time in a mosque. So that clearly, that's the first condition, is has to be in a mosque. And which mosque? The mosque where they perform even the Jumu'ah prayer, so you didn't have to leave that place to pray Jumu'ah. That's a masjid was dedicated for that. Some people and some scholars, they said that's only limited to 3 masajid: Masjid al-Nabawi, Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Aqsa. But actually, there's no evidence for that. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تُبَاشِرُهُنَّ وَأَنْتُمْ عَاكِفُونَ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. Do not have a relation with your wife, like as husband and wife, while you are engaged in i'tikaf in the mosque. So in mosque, the general mosque, there is no specific has to be that Masjid al-Haram, for example. However, being i'tikaf in Masjid al-Haram, that's a greater, because the extra reward for the prayer, for being there, that's a ibadah by itself. So it's not conditional that has to be in a specific mosque. As long as that mosque they perform Jumu'ah and Jama'at, then it is that the place will be fine. Is any limit for the luzum? Al-masjid has to be certain hours, certain time. Generally speaking, yes. Like Imam Malik, Imam Abu Hanifa, they limited that to 24 hours, day and night. So you enter before Maghrib, you leave after Maghrib, so for the next day. You enter after Maghrib, you leave after Maghrib the next day, you know? So the 24 hours. And that's the best time. You start the day from before Maghrib, because that's the Maghrib that the day started, and they leave. If you started before Fajr, then you should remain until the next Fajr. That is the minimum. Imam Shafi'i, he said that's fine, even less than that time. As long as you are in the masjid with that intention, that will be counted as an i'tikaf. And one of the evidence that were Sayyidina Umar in Jahiliyyah, he made another to make i'tikaf one night. And the Prophet commanded him to fulfill his promise. And he did. But that's a different story. Because if you have you have a promise to do something, then you can fulfill as the way you promised it. So he promised to do one night, so that's fine. That's a completely different story. And by the way, that type of i'tikaf, it's obligatory because you make it obligatory in self. But generally talking, i'tikaf is not obligatory. Actually, it's one of the opinion of Imam Malik, not even recommended. Like, as it was mentioned in there. But actually, it's a great sunnah, it's a great practice that, something you should try. If you have not tried before, maybe try this year, at least one day and night, to see how it's really a beautiful ibadah. Build that special connection with the masjid, with the Quran, with the brotherhood. It's really, really important. So again, luzumu al-masjidi, to be in a mosque. So you should actually limit your spot, and movement in the masjid. And even if you can select a spot in the masjid, that even would be more preferable than to be everywhere. We don't have that ability like some masajid, they designate that spots, with that. We don't have, but you can yourself, you choose like a nice and a quiet corner in the masjid. That will be yours. That will be great. You are not allowed, while you engage in i'tikaf, to be outside the masjid unless there is an emergency where there's no, for example, somebody will bring food for you and you have to go. Where, for example, there's no accommodation for taking a shower and you have to take a shower because of janaba. So you have to leave the masjid in this case and you have to go outside. So if there's a necessity, then it's fine. Or you made it as a condition from the beginning. You say, what? If there's a janazah, I'm going to attend. I'm going to follow the janazah. If you made it as a condition, then it's not going to break your i'tikaf if you are going according to that condition that you made. To do a certain ibadah that not necessarily will be in the area of the masjid. However, it's better to not to go anywhere, with that. لزوم المسجد بنية. So niyyah has to be clear. Let's say somebody was there for 24/7 but was not specific niyyah with the i'tikaf. It does not count. So the intention is matter. And you don't have to say it with your tongue. The actions that involve it, it suffice for your intention. والقصد للشيء بنية أتت بنية محلها القلب ثبت. So you don't have to utter and to say that, so oh, I'm doing i'tikaf, something like this. No. Unless you are among those called mustankih, kathir al-waswasa, you have a constant doubt, and that might help you, that's a different story. But in a normal situation, no. Do not pronounce the intention that I'm going to do this and that. And again, لزوم المسجد للطاعة. So what you should do in a masjid. There are 4 things you should increase from it, and 4 will be less from it. And I want you to count that. So we should have more of Quran. Yes. More of dhikr. Yes. More of dua. More of salah. That's great. So while you're in a masjid, do your best. More of Quran, and you might make a target for yourself. You're in the masjid. You might say, you know what? I would do 15 juz a day. Challenge yourself. It is possible. The whole khatma, it might take from you 8, 9 hours maximum. You could type in the YouTube the entire Quran with al-Minshawi, without basit, with a nice recitation, and you see it's a 9 hours, 10 hours, some of them 8 hours. So you could do even the whole khatma, let alone do half. So raise the bar high, so more Quran and more salah, especially at night. If you can spend most of the night in salah, that would be great. Alhamdulillah, we have tarawih, we have the first tahajjud, second tahajjud. Do more. This is exceptional time for you. And you can do 2, Quran and salah together. So you recite more Quran in the salah, and more dhikr, and more dua. And less walk. Yes? Do not move around. Say, oh, I'm going to do this and go there and surface and volunteer. Calm down this time. Do not move a lot. Try to not distract yourself. Less walk, less talk. Try not too much, to be talking with people or on the phone. Less. It's very, very limited to make it. Even when you go for iftar and sahur. This is a good time for you maybe to break the silence, but try to finish it as quick as you can, and then you come back. This is the nafs. When you allow it a little bit, it takes more. Yeah? So it's good to have a less talk. And let's eat. Because when eat too much, you will go washroom too much, gonna spend more time. But it doesn't mean that you are not eating. No, you eat. But it's not like a festival and too much, but it's good. And it's good to have food from time to time to get more energy for ibadah. Do not stay for many hours without eating. That's not encouraging you much. So, but it's good to have a snack, after every 2 hours. That would be great to get more energy for that. And I directed the brother, the one who's in charge, to put a table after tarawih for you, for different snacks, and we'll see how it works. That's something you needed to encourage yourself. But yes, do not. I'm just saying when I say less eat, it's not prevent yourself from eating. But do not make it as a festival, as I said, every day and waste long time eating and then long time washroom and, try to be quick with all of that. And less sleep. Do not say, oh, I'm going to spend the time just sleeping. No. You sleep enough time, but do not spend the whole time in sleeping. It's good to take a nap throughout the day, as Rasulullah used to have that. But one of the best time, actually, after shuruq till dhuhr, that's a quiet time. You pray 2 rak'ah and then you sleep. until Dhuhr. That's one of the best time. And as a group, I will advise maybe yes, it's good to have a set time for sleeping, so the place will be quiet and nobody's sleeping and nobody like other one is reading. Maybe it's not that pleasant. So it's good maybe you arrange the time for sleeping. And I will add another things less to be on social media. Because that's, it's a communication. Though we communicate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more, not with people. And less business, if not zero business. Some people, they're in i'tikaf, but still continue their business. Even their school. You know what? It's a little bit contradict with the purpose. So try, even if you have a business, try to pass it to somebody else. If you have a school, and necessary, then maybe that day you should not be in i'tikaf if you want to do your assignment and other things. So, because as I said, you want to engage in more in the ibadah while you are in i'tikaf. It is a beautiful ibadah. And who was here for the first time for doing that? Who gonna do it for the first time in i'tikaf? I'm sure you will enjoy it. Wallah, you will enjoy it, inshallah. And it's not that easy, to be honest. But it's bringing good spirit and good energy, inshallah, for the rest of the year, bi-idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will stop at this point and we'll ask you if you have any questions. Yes, Brother Muhammad. No. Is there a problem with the family to visit? No, nothing at all. Our mother, Aisha, and even Hafsa and many other like Salam, they used to come to Asallam while he's in i'tikaf. And actually, our mother, Aisha, even she mentioned that she come even to fix his hair sometimes to Rajul Sha'ra. So it is fine. That's your family visiting, check on you, they check on them, make sure everything's fine. It's nothing wrong with that, bi-idhnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. But as I said, should be limited, because at the same time, you don't want to be worried being away from all of those days from your family. So check on them. That actually might give you more time to focus, not being distracted worry about them. Yes. But it is fine. Yes. Brother. So if somebody has a classes which kind of business, a school or business, all in the same category, that cutting your i'tikaf for that purpose, will invalidate it. So maybe you should make that arrangement that maybe after classes you will start your i'tikaf. Can I do a couple days and then stop for one day? Yeah, you're fine. You can stop for one day and then you come back with the other intention to do i'tikaf. Okay. Yes, bro. According to the majority of fuqaha, no. But according to Imam Shafi'i, that's fine if you are in even a certain period of time. Those scholars, they limit it to day and night, then you cannot cut it for that purpose. Okay? But unless you made a condition that you are going to cut it for a kind of ibadah. Let's say, you say, what, I have somebody ill, and if he is in a critical moment that need me to be beside him, maybe he's dying or something, then I will do that. You made that condition, that's fine. If you made a condition that somebody is ill, he said if his janazah comes, I will attend. You made that condition for yourself, those are fine. And that does not invalidate your i'tikaf. Yes, brother. Anything by uruf, by the common understanding that count as a masjid, then it's a masjid. So وحرمه كهو. The surrounding area, if the masjid is like the masjid, it's the same rules of the masjid and the respect of the masjid. However, in i'tikaf, it's better not even to be anywhere and everywhere in the masjid. As I said, it's better to limit it, even your movement, to be in a certain spot in the masjid. Yes. But yes, you go to a washroom area, you go to the eating area, you bring in something from your car in a parking lot. For those things in need, and you move for that certain purpose, in short period of time, it will be fine. One time the Prophet ﷺ walked outside the masjid with his wife. She came to check on him in i'tikaf, and he walked with her, and that was after Maghrib time, which was a little bit dark. And the story that even some of the Sahaba came across, and then they changed their ways and said, "Oh, that is your mother." So they said, "Oh, we have not thought about anything's wrong about you." He said, "No, the shaitan goes in the nerves of a human, as the blood circulates. So he want to cut them to think negative about that, who's that lady with the Prophet." And so, but the point of the hadith that he walked with her outside the masjid, not that far, because the room is beside the masjid. But he left the actual, building. Yes. But it's so nearby. I want to say, like, in front of the doors, like, parking lot is still within that premise in the masjid. So do not go to the mall, let's say, now in the masjid. Unless you want to bring something to eat and nobody can serve you for that, then that's fine. Even you go to the shopping if needed. But alhamdulillah, these things we take care of it. Yes. Yes, so when you go for sahur, for example, you can walk from outside and to get the fresh air, as well. Or you go from inside. It's better to go from inside. Yes, but it's allowed to go from outside. Yes, it's see, we want to make the limitation for ourselves, because if you open for yourself, it then lose its point. It's good to, as I said, to limit it, that for yourself. But is it permissible? Yes, as long as it's still within its premises, then it's fine. Yes, brother. So as long as the action is valid and it's conditional, like, to be continued, there's no need to renew the intention. But if you cut it for any reason, then you're starting again, then you need to renew it. If you cut it, like, for a reason that not permissible, then yes, when you come back, you renew your intention. Okay? Yes, brother. That's what invalidated as i'tikaf rules. Then you have to, when you come back, start again. Yeah. Okay. So i'tikaf, it has to be done, I know it's a little bit strict, ibadah, but it has to be done with this way. That's actually the beauty of it. You don't want to be flexible, go to school, you go to work, then what is the point? What is the point? عكف على شيء لزمه وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد التماثيل التي أنتم لها عاكفون. The word عكف عاكفين, he's staying there, at that, point, at that action. So you don't want to say, I'm a mu'takif, and then you'll be seen here and there. And as I still tell you, the Prophet, they used to have to him like a tent inside the masjid. So even he's not even leaving his spot inside the masjid. It's very important that you have that concept. And it's mean a lot. When you want to be everywhere, what is the change? You know? And think of it. The Prophet ﷺ house is just next door. But even though he's not going there, he's just staying there. Just his house is next door. Yes, but he's staying inside, that place. So let's, try, to be in that mood all the time. Any other question? Yes, Sheikh. Allah is saying. Sahih. Yeah. So no like a business with any type. Generally speaking, let alone will be in i'tikaf. So let's say there's something that's short. They need your opinion about a matter because your position in the work are important. If something urgent, something important, specific, you are just diverting like from your activities of ibadah a little. Okay, that's fine, but making it as intentionally from the beginning, say, you know what? Oh, I'm going to bring the business in the masjid while I'm doing i'tikaf. Then it is, what's the point? You should tell people at the office, I'm in these days, I'm out of reach, but still continue doing all the businesses, all trades, it's not the case. But now, let's say somebody has nobody to bring a food for him, and he has the option to ask for delivery. It is fine. Better than he will go outside and come back. But try, when you're doing that, not to be physically in the mosque boundaries. Can be in the mosque, premises, but not in mosque boundaries, to avoid that, buying and selling in the mosque. But here, it's more of, like as I said, something out of necessity. And which one is preferable? You get the point? Yes. Yes, brother. Attending the halaqat, even like studying Arabic, if that intention to be more close to Quran, to be like as a ibadah, it's fine. Yes. To attend the halaqat, lectures, even online ones, it's fine. However, it's give the priority for the Quran and anything Quran related. But can you study other type of fiqh? No, it's fine. No problem. Some scholars, they used to do, during the i'tikaf, they read the whole Bukhari. Yeah, which is a good thing, which fine. Maybe we can do it one day. Inshallah. Yes, brother Amsterdam. Ameen, Shmai. Oh, mashallah alaik. Jazakallah khairan. He said there are 4 things that we need to increase from it. Which one it's better to do it more? Quran. And if you can do Quran in the salah, that would be great. And the Quran, even spend the Quran not making dua, is still great. The Prophet ﷺ said, من شغله ذكري عن مسألتي أعطيته أفضل مواطن السائرين وفضل كلام الله على سائر الكلام كفضل الله على خلقه. So you engage even with dhikr, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not even asking, not making dua, Allah will grant for you whatever He granted for those He asking Him. And He said, the best of the dhikr is the Quran. So again, if you engage with the Quran, that would be great. Engage with the Quran, reading, reflecting, and when you engage the Quran in Salah, so you catch in that one. And also engaging with the Quran, that will be replacing the dua, you know. So now 3 out of 4. And what's number 4? Huh? So we said you recite Quran in Salah, so now 2. And that's instead of dua, yes? And then there's a dhikr. I would say while in the masjid, maybe you made a commitment to say all of the adhkar the Prophet used to say. Morning adhkar, evening adhkar, night adhkar. If something not memorized, this is your time to memorize it, those adhkar. Make it as a target for you. And if you want, I can give you a book of Hisn Muslim or adhkar. So you make it your target to memorize it. It's just in Arabic and English, and even has a translation if you want. And there are apps, you know, you can download it. So you make it your target that to memorize most of those dua the Prophet used to say, and that's, you know, adhkar for you. It's good. Do not say, you know what, oh, I'm just going to do Quran. This. For the adhkar, try to do it by itself. Hisn Muslim. Yes. You have that one? Okay. Okay. So, may Allah bless you. Please do not forget us from your dua. Make dua for the ummah. Make dua for your family. This is a special time, especially when you engage in ibadah, and you're in dua. And even when you are sleeping, you are in ibadah. The moment that you step in the masjid, whatever you do in ibadah, you're sleeping, eating, it's all the ibadah. It's count ibadah. Engage in ibadah. It's a ni'mah. So it's not only just when you recite Quran, I wait in the masjid. And this is the time for rahmah, the time for dua. May Allah accept it. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.